Welcome back to another episode of Opinionated Facts. I'm your host Drizzle, and today we got another special guest in the building, Phsyc Mike.
What up? What up? What up? What up?
How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's a little chillier than I thought it was gonna be outside, but I'm straight, man.
Okay,
They
okay.
said it was gonna be warm today, man. So I had to bring a jacket. I came outside. I had to bring a jacket, man. I didn't know it was gonna be cold, man.
Yeah, now you know Kentucky's a little bit different. It,
Yeah,
it, it might say 55, and then you look out,
yeah,
it feel like
man.
it's 32.
Yeah,
Uh, but how's it been, bro? It's been a couple years since the last time we spoke.
yeah. It's been good, man. I can't complain. I've been blessed. Um, I've had a couple more business endeavors since I've seen you last. But it's been good, man. Overall, I can't complain, man.
Okay. So I want to get into the beginning. I want to know what makes Phsyc Mike.
What makes Phsyc Mike? First of all, I'm born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio. Um, Avondale to be exact. I'm from Avondale in Cincinnati, South Avondale, and I was born and raised out there. But my grandmother, on my mother's side, all of her family is from a town called Harrodsburg, Kentucky. It's a small country town in central Kentucky, and all my life, uh, I visited Harrodsburg, Kentucky. I mean, for everything like spring break, summer vacation. We do all of our things. We do Thanksgiving every year down there. Just everything. So I kind of grew up down there too, and I actually moved down there when I was in middle school. So when I was in middle school, I was getting into some trouble, and my mom sent me down there, and I kind of asked her to go too, but she sent me down there, and I lived in Harrodsburg. I failed seventh grade in Cincinnati, and I moved to Harrodsburg in seventh grade. Stayed there for seventh grade, passed. Went to eighth grade, passed, and I told my mom I wanted to move back to Cincinnati because I just wasn't feeling the vibe. Because, like I said, I visited down there all the time, but every time we went down there, it was something going on. As a kid, they had the fair down there, or I'm going down there, it's Thanksgiving, all the families in town, or spring break, I'm hanging with all my cousins. I got a big family with hundreds of cousins, so it's a lot of us that's my age. So I thought all the time it was fun like that. So when I moved down there, and it wasn't nothing going on like the fair, this and that. I'm like, this is it? Like, what we gonna do? They're like, nothing. So by the time I passed eighth grade to start high school, I told my mom I want to come back to Cincinnati. So she let me come back to Cincinnati my freshman year, and it wasn't good, man. I started getting into a lot of trouble when I was 15 or so. My brother, he was wanted for a murder out there, and he fled the city and moved to Atlanta. And people started following us to school. Me and my mama, she dropped me off to school, and she was finding guns and stuff in my room, and I was just headed down the wrong path, man. I had a port card one time. We had 7 courses, and I had 5 X's and 2 F's. An X mean you didn't even show up. You didn't even show up to the initial class. So she was like, "You're going back down to the country." So I moved down to Harrisburg. I failed ninth grade, of course, and I moved back down to Harrisburg and spent the rest of my high school career down there. And I caught it. Ironically enough, I got into a lot more trouble in the country than I did in the city. I wound up catching 2 dope cases. You know, uh, I was a senior in high school. I was 18 years old. I was the football star, typical football star. And every time I go to down there, I'm the city guy in front of all the country dudes. You know what I'm saying? The dudes want to be like me. The girls, everything. And I'm the football star, this, that, and the third. Then I catch a dope case in high school. I was a senior in high school, and I got caught trafficking, and they locked me up down in a place in Marion County. I was down there doing something I wasn't supposed to do. They locked me up, and I had to stay down there for like 2 weeks in jail before I got out. And when I got out, I had to come back to school. So, everybody's whispering, but they put my name on the front page of the newspaper. Harrisburg athlete arrested for trafficking drugs. It was bad. And so I wind up dropping out of school, man, and just walking around town selling crack. I wasn't making that much money. I was just a petty hustler, a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there, buy some new shoes or whatever. And my uncle was living in Atlanta at the time, and he's a preacher, and he was up in Harrisburg visiting uh, from Atlanta. And he seen me, and he grew up with me in my household in Cincinnati. My household in Cincinnati consists of my mother, my brother, and my uncle, the one I was telling you about, my Uncle Kiwi. But my uncle and my brother was the same age because, back then, my grandparents, they had kids. They had kids that the oldest kid was a big gap between the youngest kid. So by the time my mama had her first child, her little brother was the same age as her first child. So he grew up like my brother. And he was like, man, what you doing, man? You ain't doing nothing in your life. You done dropped out of high school. You ain't got no job. You walking around here doing nothing. Won't you move to Atlanta with me? I can get you a job. You can live with me. Start your life. I'm like, nah, man, I ain't going to no Atlanta, man. This is like in 1990. 8 or 9, and I was 19 years old, and he was there for the weekend. He came Thursday for Thanksgiving and stayed. I kept telling him no every day. He seen me, no, no, no. Then Sunday, I was getting into it with my girl at the time, and he was like, "Come on, you gonna go with me? We about to leave." He's packing up his car. I said, "You know what? I'm gone." I packed up everything I owned. It fit in one garbage bag, and I tell you how good I was doing. And I moved to Atlanta with him, man. So I was born and raised in Cincinnati till I was. Then I came down here 7th and 8th grade, went back to Cincinnati 9th grade, came back to Kentucky when I was like 15, and then I was 19. I moved to Atlanta with him. Yeah.
Okay. And so, once you went down to Atlanta, did you ever? Well, obviously you're back now, but at what point did you come back to Kentucky?
I lived down there for about 5 or 6 years. Like I said, he's a preacher, and he had his household was him, his wife's sister, and his daughter. And so he was like, "You can come live with me," and I'm rough around the edges at the time, fresh off the block. I'm drinking, I'm smoking, blah, blah, blah. And he like, "Listen, you can't bring none of that in the house. You can do whatever you want to out there, but don't bring none of that in the house. No alcohol bottles, no weed bags, no blunts, no whatever. But just don't bring it in the house." And he got me a job, like he said. It's so easy to get jobs in Atlanta, at the time. I'm sure it is now like that too. He got me a job with his sister-in-law at the time, the woman that was staying with us. And he would be like, "Here, take my car, go get lost. Find yourself out there. Find where these neighborhoods at." And at the time, because I'm a radio guy, I listened to the radio all the time back then. I still do. And I would listen to Atlanta radio. I didn't know nobody or nothing. And he wasn't trying to do nothing. He's a preacher,
Yeah.
And it was crazy because I grew up with him in my household. He was a thug. He's a thug turned preacher.
Yeah.
So I'm going down there, "Yeah, what's up, Key? Let's go get drunk." He's like, "Man, what? I'm a preacher. I don't change my life." So I would take his car. I would listen to the radio, and the radio gonna always tell you what's going on in the city. So I would listen to the radio. They were like, "Yo, we got a party at such and such tonight, blah, blah, blah." And I would just pull up, take his car and just pull up. This is before GPS, before Garmin, any of that. So I would just pull up and just be in the parking lot. You know what I'm saying? And I did that for like a year, man, a year and a half, and I started meeting my own friends, and I met a guy named Big Buddha. Shout out to Buddha. He's from the Bronx in New York. He was living in Atlanta at the time, and I met him at the job. You know, I'm a talkative guy, so I didn't know nobody. I was hungry at the job. I was broke. It's lunchtime. I ain't got no lunch, and he was eating a sandwich. And I'm a crazy dude. I was like, "Man, you gonna eat the rest of that?" And he started laughing like, "Man, you got the audacity to ask me that. Here, you can have it." So me and him got real cool, and I wound up getting an apartment with him and some other friends, and I stayed in Atlanta from about 99 to about 2004-ish, 5-ish, something like that. So I say I came back about 5 or 6 years later. Yep.
Okay. And what led you to come back?
Well, it's a long story. I guess I can tell. It's been statute of limitations.
Because I'm gonna
So,
say what
no, it's all
led you to
good.
come back versus going back to like Cincinnati or staying in Atlanta?
Well, I knew I wasn't gonna never go back live back in Cincinnati because my mother wouldn't let me for one, and once I seen Atlanta, man, I didn't want to be nowhere else. Like it was pop, it still is, but it was popping in Atlanta for a young black man. You know, it was my first time seeing. I had never seen a caliber of black people like that. You know, in my hood where I'm from, if a black guy's driving a Benz with diamond necklaces on, you selling dope, or something like that. In Atlanta, it's a whole breed of brothers down there that they might have that same Benz or that same diamond chain, but he ain't never touched a piece of dope in his life. He might just be a supervisor at Coca-Cola, or he might own his own company, record label or something like that. And I seen that, and I'm like, damn, you know, you could do that down here. So I got with some guys, and I started this crew called the Hoffa family. Shout out to the Hoffa family. And we started to we came up together. We all like 18, 19, 20 years old. It was like 8 of us in a 3-bedroom apartment. I done moved out from my uncle. You know, like I said, I done started meeting friends and stuff. Moved out from my uncle, and one of my best friends is Puerto Rican, and he's from Puerto Rico. So, and he learned how to speak English very well. He's one of them Puerto Ricans that you wouldn't even know he's Puerto Rican. You would think he's just a light skinned black dude,
Right.
but he's really Puerto Rican. His whole family and all of that. And he, you know, we was doing little petty stuff or whatever, and he wound up coming across a Mexican cartel at the time, and you know, we started doing a couple things, making some money, and we went from being broke to having a lot of money. And what we was involved in, I, you know, I'm trying to do the right thing and do the Coca-Cola supervisor job or whatever. Yeah, and it was just too tempting, man. I'm like, damn, this cost, they're gonna give it to this for this. Well, I know people in Kentucky and Cincinnati that have paid this. So I started doing that, and I started making a lot of money. We started making a lot of money together. And this is like 23, 25 years ago. And in the process of me doing what I was doing, uh, I decided to get a crib up here. I moved back to Harrisburg. I bought a house. I didn't buy a house. I started renting a house, and I moved back to Harrisburg to better look after my business that I was doing at the time. And I came back, and like I said, I'm visiting back. When I moved down to Atlanta, I didn't just stay down there for 5 years. I was still homesick. I'm coming back and forth every other weekend like a dummy. Thinking back, that was stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, you in Atlanta and it's popping. You want to come back to Harrisburg.
Yeah.
I'm in love with this little girl. You know, wound up having my first child at 21. And so I was like, you know what, man, I need to come back and be with and I had another child at 22. And I'm like, man, I need to come back and, you know, be with my kids and better look after my situation, what I was doing. And I'm starting to rap. You know, I met this guy named Don Wees, one of my close friends to this day. He had his own record label that he had put together called Wartime Records. And I had never been involved in nothing like that. You know, I was rapping just locally around the hood, making little tapes or whatever, not really doing nothing. And he's the first person that showed me structure, like record labels, manager, this, that, which he was all of them. He was the CEO, he was the manager, he was the promoter, and all of that. And I started putting out mixtapes and this, that, and the third with him. And I moved back to Kentucky to Harrisburg for like a year. And then I bought a crib in Nicholasville. I was renting out a $400,000 house in Nicholasville. Uh, and I wasn't doing nothing but selling weed. You know, I wasn't selling no hard drugs. I was selling weed, but it was like 100, 200 pounds. You know, that's back when Reggie was the thing. Remember the Reggie, the Mexican press Reggie, 5 pounds the size of a math book, sticks, seeds. That's when that was jumping. So we was doing that, and that's what brought me back to Kentucky. And you know, also when I was down there during that time, I was hanging with Akon's brother. His name is Abu. Shout out to Abu. And this is like right before Akon came out with Locked Up. And Abu was like, shit, you know, my brother be around these celebrities or whatever, whatever. How much you think, you think we can make some money if we start bringing them to Kentucky? And I was like, hell yeah, we can make some money. I know some clubs and stuff, that's going on. We could do that. So all of that's going on at the same time. And that's what brought me back to Kentucky the first time. And I stayed back for like 3 or 4 years in Kentucky, and I started being a club promoter. I started bringing artists from Atlanta to Lexington. Because when I was living in Atlanta, man, you know, in Atlanta, you remember Jermaine Dupri came out with that song and he mapped out every day, Monday night is this, Tuesday night is that. It's really like that. So when we was making all that money, we was going to them clubs every single night. And we was spending so much money, like it was like, you know, we'll go to the club and it'll cost, say it might be a night where you gotta wear all black or you can't wear jeans or whatever, whatever. But we'll have on throwback jerseys and whatever, whatever. And they'll be like, well, y'all can get in, but it's 200 a piece for y'all to get in without the dress code. Then when we get in, it's another 100 or 2 to get into the VIP inside the club where the celebrities is at. So each one of us will pay like $400-500 before we even bought a drink, and there's 9 of us. So any given night we spending 4,500 just to get up in there, and I started rubbing shoulders with, cause that circle is small. Once you get up to that upper echelon, that circle of successful people, rappers, actors, musicians, whatever, whatever, athletes is small. So I started rubbing shoulders with those guys and Abu, and we started to get known. My crew, the Hoffa family, started to get known. This was the time when BMF was down there. You know, I'm not saying we was big as BMF, but they knew us. You know, we was dealing with them too. And by me mingling with the stars and stuff, I started getting numbers and talking to managers and rappers and stuff. I knew a lot of rappers before they got big, like Young Jeezy, T.I., Ludacris, all of them, you know. And I started bringing them to Lexington. We did so many shows in Lexington, you know. Uh, the first one I think I did was David Banner. I brought David Banner to a club called Varsity Blues. It's now called the Tilted Kilt, but it was renovated different back then. It was like a concert hall. And I brought David Banner when he had the #1 song in the country. Um, and them girls get down on the floor with a little flip.
Yeah.
Brought him up here, did that show. I brought Yin Yang Twins up here when they was #1 in the country. I tell you something, Yin Yang Twins, when I brought them to Varsity Blue, they debuted one of their songs before it even came out, right here in Lexington, Kentucky. I think they had Whistle While You Twerk out at the time, but uh, they debuted, they got on stage and did their show, and they was like, we about to debut a hit, this song we about to come out with, nobody heard it yet, and it was Salt Shaker. That song was debuted right here in Lexington, Kentucky. I was on tour with Young Jeezy when he was in his prime with Trap or Die. Thanks to my guy Bone. They called him Bone back then. His name is Carbon 15 now. Shout out to him. He used to have me on tour with Young Jeezy. I was on tour with T.I. when he was in his prime, when he had the #1 album and the #1 movie in the same week. It was the King album and the ATL movie. Clay Evans, rest in peace to him. He showed me everything I know about this management game and doing all of that. He used to have us around doing that tour and everything. We brought who else I brought out here? All type of people. Akon, of course, brought him to a club called Starlight. Used to be in Wood Hill. We brought Jagged Edge when they was in their prime. We did a New Year's Eve show with them. Just a number of people. Lil Scrappy when they had Kamikaze 2. Clay used to when I used to book T.I., we booked him to Louisville Gardens a few times. When I used to book T.I., Clay used to say, "You can book T.I., but you got to put my new artist I'm bringing out on there too." His name was Young L.A. And you got to bring him, and to host it, I'm trying to break this comedian. You don't know him, but we want to have him host it. You ain't even got to pay him but like $500. We're gonna bring him too. His name's Lil Duval, and we brought them. Oh man, I can't remember everybody. We brought all type of people to Lexington during that time. So I was doing that while I was living in Nicholasville. When I moved from Harrisburg to Nicholasville, I was like 23, 24 years old, and bringing all them people up here. So it just made sense for me to come back up here and live. You know what I'm saying? This where my business was, where both my businesses was. I had one foot in, one foot out, trying to transition into the rap game. Same time, I'm putting out mixtapes. I'm a rapper, so that's what brought me back to Kentucky the first time. Because I also moved back to Atlanta again after that.
Okay. Okay. Now you said you were rapping as well. What type of, I don't want to say what type of rapper you were, but let's say What was your influence music up? Coming up musically.
So coming up, Cincinnati is a different place. There, even though we're in the Midwest, we was heavily influenced by New York
I
rappers.
feel like Louisville was too a lot.
You know, we
Back then,
to this
yeah.
day we wear Tim's. You know, we had the West Coast stuff too. You know, of course Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and all that. But I was more geared towards New York rap. Wu-Tang is my favorite group of all times. Um, so I tend to rap like I was from New York. You know, I wasn't heavy. Yo, what up, B? What up, son? I wasn't going hard like that, but
Yeah.
I was heavy with the metaphors and heavy with the, stuff like that. And because I was cool with Young Jeezy and his whole crew, his DJ name is DJ Fahrenheit. And I had DJ Fahrenheit host one of my mixtapes. You heard about Phsyc Mike Volume 2. And he hosted my mixtape, and I had people on there like BG, T.I., um, Pitbull, uh, a couple other people. And some of them just gave me drops. Some of them just, hey, yeah, you listen to Phsyc Mike, you heard about too, whatever, because we was hanging together and stuff. So I put that, I was putting mixtapes out. My first mixtape, this is a crazy story I'm gonna tell you. My first mixtape, it actually was a demo for Mobb Deep. So back then they had these phones out called sidekicks. I don't know if you remember the T-Mobile sidekicks.
Mm-hmm.
You could flip it up, bloop, what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You flip it up, type on it, whatever. And me and my little brother Yaya, see back then we would sit at his apartment. He had an apartment at these apartments called the Farrington. And I was always a family guy. I'm the dude that always had the girl with the kids and just taking them to school and doing all of that. And Yaya was the single guy. So I would go over his house every single day and we would put the CDs together. Uh, we'd be sitting on his couch. We have a box of inserts, which is the paper that goes inside of a CD case. We have a box of CDs that's pressed up of my mixtape, and we have a box of the plastic cover. And you take the plastic cover, we use like assembly line every day. Take the plastic cover, put the insert in there, put the CD in there, close it, stack them up. And then we were selling those. And so while we doing that one day, we listening to a mixtape. So all we did was sit around and listen to mixtapes, watch DVDs. Like we are music, you know what I'm saying? That we live it and breathe it. And while we listening to a mixtape, Mobb Deep is on there and Prodigy got a song on there. And at the end of the song, some of the rappers be like, yeah, you can't fuck with us, blah, blah, blah. On the end of one of his songs, he was talking shit like, yeah, any one of you bitch ass niggas got beef, whatever, you can come to 41st side, or you can, cause when you got a T-Mobile sidekick, it automatically came with I think it was called T-Mail or something, tmail.com. You got a website, I mean, what's it called with it, right? An email with it. And he was like, you can call my number is such and such, such and such. You can even T-mail me, nigga. I don't give a fuck. We open it, all beef, whatever. I look at Yaya, I say, I wonder if that's his real number. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's his real number. I wind up calling the number, They say, hello. I say, yeah, what's up, man? This is Phsyc Mike, man. I got your number off the mixtape, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to, I'm trying to get down or whatever. I'm on a kick of freestyle. And I'm talking to the dude, and I'm not knowing if it's him or not. I'm like, this could be anybody, but I know music and I know Prodigy. Like, that's Prodigy I'm talking to. Like, Yaya sitting right there, like, damn. So I start kicking the rap. See, so back then, we didn't have money to go sit in the studio for 8 hours and bullshit and freestyle like some of these guys do now and punch in. I memorized all my raps before we got to the studio. We paying for 2 hours, and I'm utilizing them whole 2 hours to the T. I know all my raps from front to back. I can sing it, rap it, to any beat, whatever. I wind up freestyling to Prodigy, and I put like 3 16-bar raps together. So I'm going back to back to back to back. I can hear him in the background going crazy, like, damn, they going crazy. I think I hit like 50 bar. I'm going crazy. And he say, look, I tell you what, put a demo together, send it to this address, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to go from there. I'm like, bet. So we hang up. I think it took me like a week, 5 or 6 days. I put together 6 songs. And what I wanted to do to impress them, I did all my 6 songs to Mobb Deep beats, because I wanted to show them that I could rap on their type of beats. I wanted to get down. So I did 6 songs to Mobb Deep beats, and by the time I got done, I sent it to the address that they told me to, and I called the number that I had. Well, the number was off. you know, the number back then, it was like, you have reached a number that is disconnected. This is no longer in service. I said, damn, what's going on? So I kept calling. I'm on the call him, tell him I sent to see if you like the tape. Come to find out, we looking at the TV. The very next, after I freestyle for them, like 5 or 6 days later, they signed the G Unit and changed all their numbers. I never could get back in touch with them again. So I came this close to having a record deal with Mobb Deep and or G Unit. So that was my style of rap. Is like East Coast, you know what I'm saying?
All right.
New York style.
All right. Okay. Now, have you ever been up to New York, or is that anything?
Oh yeah, I've been to New. I mean, now I'm, you know,
I'm saying as far as like live
back
wise,
then.
like living wise, like
Oh no, I never lived in New York.
Okay.
I've never lived in New York, but I had relationships with people in New York, and I done been in New York a million times since then. But nah, I ain't never lived in New York. I've lived in Cincinnati, I've lived in Lexington, I've lived in Nicholasville, I lived in Harrisburg, I lived in Atlanta.
Okay. Okay. Now you brought up my guy Yaya.
Mm-hmm.
I've interviewed him
Shout out to
multiple
Yaya.
times. Yeah, that's my dog. Talk about y'all's relationship.
I got a funny story about Yaya, too, right? So Yaya, I've known him since he was born. Period. He comes from a large family in Harrisburg. I come from a large family. Both our families are intermingled. You know, I know him since birth. But his older brother, his real brother, is my real cousin, right? So I grew up with his big brother like my brother. Like, we cousins, but we brothers, right? His name is Jewel Brown. Shout out to Juwayne. And Yaya, his family is very sports oriented, you know, especially football. He got a bunch of uncles and cousins that play football. Some of them went D1. Craig Yeast is his cousin. He played for the NFL. You know, so they really sports oriented or whatever. Yaya was a senior in high school, and his cousin Donald Smith was at the time he's the coach for Kentucky State University football, and right now he's the athletic director at Mercer County down there. And Yaya was a senior in high school, and he was going to go play football for his cousin, you know, at Kentucky State University. I'm living in Atlanta at the time. Like I told you, I'm dealing with the cartel. I'm dealing with the Hoffa family. I'm popping. I'm with these rappers, everything. I'm jumping at this point. And he's done graduated high school. This is the summer he graduates. And his girlfriend, who he went to school with, Caroline, rest in peace to Caroline, shout out to her, who he had his first child with. She had moved to, I think, Macon or Savannah, Georgia. One of the two, I can't remember. I think Savannah. And the summer he graduated, he was going to go visit her, right? For a couple days, a week or so, or whatever. He was going to take a Greyhound bus to go visit her. Mm-hmm. He took the Greyhound to go visit her, and he had a 4 or 5 hour layover in Atlanta, where his older brother, my best friend, was like, hey, man, my little brother coming down there. You know, he got a 4 or 5 hour layover at the Greyhound bus station. Can you pick him up instead of him sitting at the bus station for 5 hours? You know what I'm saying? I said, yeah, what time is he? And his layover was like 12 at night to like 4 or 5 in the morning. Prime time club hours. Yeah, I'll pick him up. You know what I'm saying? I pick him up. And it's like 12 o'clock. I say, yeah, you can just go with us to the club. You know what I'm saying? And by this time, we lit. You know, we walking straight in the club. You know, as long as you got the Hoffa tattoo, you get in. You know, we in the VIP with the rappers. Rappers coming to our section. Ludacris, back then, his name was Chris Lover Lover. Bone Crusher, all these people coming. Yeah, what's up, Phsyc Mike? Hoffa fan, Hoffa. The whole club screaming Hoffa. Yaya's just this kid from a small town in Harrisburg seeing all this stuff like, what the fuck? You know, he's seeing me moving around. He's seeing, I'm still 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So he's seeing some of the cartel situation. Mm-hmm. He's like, his head is busted. You know what I'm saying? He goes back to Harrisburg and tells his family, a nice, prestigious family, that I'm not going to Kentucky State and play football with our cousin. I'm moving to Atlanta and be a rapper with Phsyc Mike. Oh my God. They was mad. I'm talking about they was pissed. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? You doing what? And at the time, I got a bad reputation in Harrisburg. You know, crack dealer. He's transporting these drugs. He's doing this and that. You know, I got a bad reputation. Not a bad reputation, but you know what I mean.
You got a name.
Not somebody they wanted their
Right.
precious boy to be with. And he says he gonna move to Atlanta, and he does. Right? He moved down there, but his girl had a crib at the time, so he didn't have to move in with me. He was with her, but he was with me every day. And he's seeing what he's seeing. And Yaya, if you know Yaya, he's a free thinker. He gonna do what he want to do,
Right.
regardless of who say what. Right? He wind up having his own situation of people in Cincinnati and Kentucky who, how can I put this, who was in need of things that we could supply. And he was doing his thing back and forth or whatever. And one time he wanted to use my car to do it. So I gave him my car. And I mean, like I said, this is statute of limitations, so I can talk about this. He took 10 pounds of weed. He was on the way to take 10 pounds of weed to Cincinnati from Atlanta. He didn't make it 45 minutes outside of Atlanta, get pulled over. They find the weed, they lock him up, send him to prison.
Yeah.
Now I got to call his family. So you can imagine how they looked at me like, you mother...
It's your fault.
It's your fault. But that was his situation. I didn't have nothing to do with that. I just let him use my car. And I assisted him because I had the plug, but that was his situation. You know what I'm saying? So now some of the people in his family was like, nah, it ain't your fault. We don't blame you. You know what I'm saying? Like his dad, shout out to his dad, Nick Yeast. He was also my running back coach in high school. And he set me down and he was like, I don't blame you. I hope you don't think I'm mad at you or nothing like that. And I respect him all my life. You know what I'm saying? He was like, I love you. He made his decision. You know, we're going to get through this, blah, blah, blah. He made me feel a lot more comfortable. But yeah, man, Yaya, people think Yaya's got like an attitude of, but he don't. You got to understand, when this guy was 18, he's in the club with me and Ludacris and diamond chains on. And then we going home, he's seeing the cartel come bring 150 pounds to my, he came in the game like that. Right. 150 pounds, rappers, Mercedes-Benz, that's all he knows. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say I corrupted him, but he came in the game seeing a lot of stuff. So over the years, he grew to be like my little brother I never had. I don't got no little brother. All I got is one sibling, Landy. He passed away, rest in peace to him. And we're gonna dedicate this to him too, and my mom and my other uncle that passed away. But that's all Yaya know. So we became brothers. He's like my little brother. You know what I'm saying? And over the years, we just been doing everything together. We like Batman and Robin. You know what I'm saying? Beauty and the Beast. You know, right. I'm the beauty, he's the beast.
Now, I know you spend a good amount of your time.
I'm sorry, y'all. I hope you don't get mad for me telling that story, but it's statute of limitations. We all legal now. We in the rap game. We don't do no bullshit no more. That was 20 years ago. So go ahead.
But
22 years ago.
you spent a lot of time in Atlanta, and you spoke on some of the connections and some of the relationships that you gained in Atlanta during that time. What are some of those relationships that you gained back then that you still have now?
The relationships I gained then, I still have now. I still have a relationship with T.I. and the whole Grand Hustle. Shout out to T.I. Shout out to ATL Snake. Like I said, Clay Evans, who I think was like the president of Grand Hustle at the time, where he had a high-ranking position, and he was T.I.'s personal manager or assistant or whatever at the time. And before all of that, he was managing a club called 201 Cortland. And 201 Cortland was literally, that was the address of the club, 201 Cortland Street. And it was like an NBA club. So the NBA players hung out there, and he used to let the Hoffa family come in the back door and kick it with the NBA players and stuff like that. So he introduced us to a lot of all the Grand Hustle family. They made us Grand Hustle Midwest, you know, gave us all the flyers and stuff to be up here, have the exclusive stuff. So I would say Grand Hustle, Young Jeezy and his camp. I'm still cool with Carbon 15, they call him now. Shout out to him. Let's see. A lot of people, Exclusive Game, the ones that want the guy that does all the custom clothes for all the rappers now. Alex Goodwin and AG Entertainment. We used to have a good relationship with them. Down, they did all the shows at all the major clubs down there. Because every night a club was popping in Atlanta, and they had a rapper or somebody either performing or hosting there or whatever. And we got now they just do big time tours and stuff now. So them, who else? I'm trying to think that I still deal with now. Just about me and Abu fell out. We didn't really fall out, but that's a long story. I really can't say on camera, but I'll tell you off camera about that. But I don't rock with them no more. Um, it wasn't my fault what happened, and it was a big mess. But who else? Pretty much anybody I've ever dealt with, I can still deal with now. I kept in touch. That's one thing about me. And I tell people out there, this game is all about relationships. Once you meet somebody and get their number, and it might be a one-time thing. You might not see them for another 5 years. Stay in touch with them. Drop a line and say, hey, how you doing? Good. Happy holidays. Hope everybody's well with you. Blah, blah, blah. Because you never know who these people turn into. And that's just good business. You know what I'm saying? That's just good business. And I've always done that. So I can pretty much call anybody that I used to deal with. Yin Yang Twins. I was just on tour with them and on the Millennium Tour, the first Millennium Tour 3 years ago. Who else? David Banner. I know all of his people. Lil Scrappy. We brought him to Kamikazes one time, and I didn't keep in touch with him over the years up until like 5 or 6 years ago. Shout out to my boy Young Chu from out here in Lexington. He's Scrappy's manager and hype man right now. And we still do shows together and keep in touch. KY Finest, shout out to him. So pretty much anybody I've ever did business with, because I'm a cool guy, man. I ain't trying to brag on them, but I don't bother nobody, bro. And I do good business. Like I've actually done shows and stuff and done business and lost, and didn't complain and didn't ask for my money or nothing, just to keep the business right and keep the business going. So I would say anybody, man. Anybody I've ever dealt with that I could still reach out to and I still do business with to this day.
Okay. Okay. Now you brought up Grand Hustle. You brought up T.I. I don't want to get onto the whole situation that they got, the Harris family versus 50, none of that. But musically, speaking just musically, there's been a conversation of T.I. versus 50 in a versus.
I don't want to see that.
And there's also been a conversation of T.I. versus Wayne in a versus.
I would rather see that.
Okay, so now since you said that, why wouldn't you want to see the T.I. 50, and why would you want to see the T.I. Wayne?
Because I don't. When I see a versus, I don't want to see a New York artist versus a down south artist, or a West Coast artist versus. I want to see two of this kind of the same, South versus South, or like Cash Money No Limit, or I think that's just too different. It's just different. You can't compare.
Almost like Fab Jadakiss.
I want to see stuff like that.
But they did have Snoop and DMX.
I didn't like that.
Yeah,
I don't like the comparison. I don't like the contrast. Like I don't want to see 50 Cent do Mini Men versus T.I. ASAP. To me, that's two different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's like comparing Jadakiss to Scarface. Jadakiss, to me, is top 5, but so is Scarface. But they two different. I don't want to see that. Now, Lil Wayne and T.I., yes. You know what I'm saying? I would like to see that, but that's never going to happen because, and let me just say this, T.I., I don't think nobody can fuck with T.I. Because unlike any other artist, T.I. is the only artist, to me, that dropped 3 classic albums back to back to back. You can't name no other artist that's dropped 3 classic albums back to back to back. Urban Legend, Trap Music, and I think it was King next. What was that? Urban Music, Urban Legend, Trap Music,
and
King.
Yeah.
Them is 3 classic albums. People are lucky to drop 1 classic album. If you drop a classic album, you consider top 10 of all time. Like 1 classic album.
Right.
T.I. dropped 3, and not only 3, he dropped them back to back to back.
Now are we excluding Kanye? Because if not, Kanye, he probably
You might be,
yeah,
you might be right. You might be right. I ain't thinking about it. Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. College dropout, late registration.
I mean, some people can argue Hove.
Yeah, don't get me started with Hov. Don't get me started with Hov. I make a lot of people mad when I talk about Hov. He's my favorite rapper of all time. Every Hov album is a classic. Let's just leave him over there. Don't even bring him up. Let's just put him up there, and we'll talk about everybody else.
Right.
Because Hov, to me, is literally the God MC. Nobody can beat Hov, bro. I don't care what you take away the money, whatever. See, when I say best MC, I'm talking about bars. I don't care how many records you sold, the impact, whatever. I don't care. I'm talking about bars, strictly lyrics. Because I'm a lyricist. You know what I'm saying? So I tell people, whoever your favorite is, I can go bar for bar, verse for verse, song for song, album for album with Jay-Z, with whoever your favorite is, and I bet you run out before I do. I bet you run out before. Nobody can rap better than Jay-Z, man. I'm sorry. Like, it's just, that's just my opinion. Even some of my best friends to this day, Parlay from the Franchize Boyz, he don't fuck with none of them Atlanta niggas like a lot of New York shit. Like, I don't know why, it's just attention there or whatever, but we had this argument all the time. You know what I'm saying? But Jay-Z to me is the best, man. Come on, bro.
That's probably just built up over the years because I know East Coast and up north artists usually call this them Bamas.
Yeah.
And country, they can't rap.
Yeah.
Like, it's always a stigma. And I think down south has always been like, we gonna prove to y'all, like, yeah, we different, but we can rap just like y'all. Like,
yeah, but
we can bar some shit up just like y'all.
You can, but it's not as many. Cause let's not get it twisted. There's many lyricists from the South. Sure. Ludacris, Sci-Hi the Prince, Outkast, like Scarface. Like, we could, but compared to how many is in New York, to me, it's just so.
Okay.
And Wu-Tang is my favorite group of all time. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you a funny Wu-Tang Clan story. So when I moved to Atlanta the first time, I'm 19 years old. I don't know nobody. They used to have this club called the Atrium, right? It's on Memorial Drive on the east side. And I'm listening to the radio. Hey, we're going to have a part. The Wu-Tang Clan is going to be at the Atrium March the 3rd, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, shit. And again, I'm from Cincinnati by way of Harrisburg. I ain't never kicked it around no rappers and shit. Talib Kweli from Cincinnati, but that's all we had. You know what I'm saying?
He's from Cincinnati?
Yeah, Kweli is. Remember the song?
He's from Chicago.
Talib is from somewhere else, but Kweli is from Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
Remember, even in the song they said it, and that's my partner Kweli, and he's from the Natty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they said Wu-Tang Clan's gonna be at the Atrium. Whoop-de-woo. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go to this. So I take my uncle's car. I go to the Atrium, and I used to go. They used to have shows at the Atrium all the time, so I used to go to the Atrium, just sit in the parking lot. I couldn't get in or nothing. I just sit there. The Atrium, it also had like a shopping center on the side of it. Tell you how old I am. It had a beeper store in the shopping center or whatever. Some Samoans from California owned the beeper store, and it was the owner and his brother. I got cool with the brother because I'm always up there. I'm just hanging around, like, who are you? And I'm a talkative guy. I know how to get cool with anybody. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking to the dude, so I used to hang out with him. And the owner's brother, he also was like a janitor or cleaner for the Atrium. So after the concerts, the next morning, his job was to go in there and clean up, sweep up, take out the trash, blah, blah, blah. So I got cool with him, and he also had access to the Atrium because of that job. So he used to get me in to different concerts and stuff. But his way of getting me in was he would bring me in there early, like 3 in the afternoon. That's how I do this to this day. He used to get me in there early, like 3 in the afternoon, and put me in the light room. So the light room is the room that's in the back of the spot that shines the lights on the stage or whatever, right? And it also was a green room for artists who performing. So he used to get me in the light room and say, just stay up here. I'd be in there 4 or 5 hours. And it had couches and stuff in there, because it's a green room too, TV. So I'd be up in there damn near asleep for 4 or 5 hours till the show started. He'd be like, when it gets crowded, then you can come downstairs and just blend in. One time I'm up there, bro, he got me in the light room. I'm chilling up there 3 or 4 hours. I ain't got no weed. I ain't smoked nothing. And about 8 or 9 New York cats come in there. They in there, they in the green room, they smoking. Me, being a talkative, outgoing guy, I go over there, hey man, I ain't smoked nothing, man. Y'all, can I hit that blunt? The dude look at me and say, they New York, yo son, nah son, We don't smoke with everybody, son. No part me, son. We no disrespect, but we don't smoke with everybody, you know. I'm like, cool. But I look at the dude, I'm like, and he kind of looked like Raekwon. He's short, stocky. I said, anybody ever tell you you look like Raekwon? I'm trying to crack a joke just to break the ice. I said, anybody ever tell you you look like Raekwon the chef? Nobody laughs. He looks at me like, yeah, I get that all the time. Like, on some, get out of here, nigga. Like, whatever.
Mm.
So I go back and sit down in the back of the room. Couple hours go past. Wu-Tang's about to perform. I done came downstairs. I'm gonna blend it in with the crowd. Wu-Tang comes out. And all of them was there too, I think, except for RZA. Wu-Tang comes out, and it's time for Raekwon's part, right? On Cash Rules Everything Around Me. I never forget. Raekwon comes out. Sure enough, that was fucking Raekwon. And I made myself look like a damn. I was so mad at myself, bro. Like, I literally was in the green room with Raekwon the chef, my nigga. Like, this is prime Wu-Tang Clan, 2002, 2003, 2001 type of shit. Like, and it was Raekwon that was in the green room with me. And I said, you look just like Raekwon the chef. And the nigga looked at me like, corny ass nigga. Like, yeah, I get that all the time. Like, get out of here. And it was really him. But, yeah. Yeah, man.
Oh man. So now, fast forward to. I don't want to fast forward to now. Let's fast forward up until you move back from Atlanta the second time, because
Okay, so I moved up here from Atlanta I was in Atlanta like 5 or 6 years. Moved up here, started doing concerts and stuff. We brought a ton of people to Lexington, to Louisville. Shout out to all my partners in Louisville. We used to do shows at the Lexington at the Louisville Garden, and all of that. And I ain't gonna say I got burnt out, but I had to be where it was happening at. You know, I had to move back to Atlanta because I had got my kids situated. Um, Everybody's straight. You know, I'm doing these shows and these concerts and stuff, but I'm going back and forth to Atlanta a lot, like 2 or 3 times a week. And it had got to be a strain on me, you know. And I was like, man, at one time I had 2 cribs, one crib in Atlanta and one crib up here in Lexington. And like I said, I'm trying to be a rapper at the time. So, and this counts still to this day. If you want to be in the music business, you kind of got to be in Atlanta. Like, you mean, you can only go so far. I mean, you got other musical cities now, Detroit, you know, of course, New York, gonna always be New York, you know, LA, if you want to go do some movies, you know, but Atlanta, if you want to get in the industry, like, you kind of got to be in Atlanta or around Atlanta or back and forth in Atlanta. So me and Yaya moved back to Atlanta in about 2006 or so, I want to say. My memories are, we moved back to Atlanta, and I stayed down there for like 8 years that time, uh, you know, and I'm promoting my mixtape, and I'm meeting more people, and I already got this group of people that I'm hanging with that's doing their thing. So it's nothing for me to call up this person for a feature or be at the studio with this person and that person. And as time went on, right as I was getting ready to crack into the game, right as Phsyc Mike was getting ready to get a record deal, uh, the 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 game changed. The game changed from, it started to go towards more auto tune and more melodic style. Nobody wanted to hear the lyrical, spiritual, miracle, blah 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 no more. You know, they wanted to hear. So one of my guys that was in my crew, name was John Jeezy at the time, and he was rapping as well, and he was more of the new age style, more of the, you know, the gangster rap that was getting ushered in. So I kind of took the back burner, and we focused on him, managing him and getting his beats and help him write or whatever and all of that. And we focused on him, and we formed a crew called the KMG. It's called the Co-op Music Group. And we had 4 elements in the Co-op Music Group. We had Parlay from the Franchize Boyz for the experience. We had my partner Buddha had his management company called 1810 Management for the management. We had JY Entertainment with me and Yaya, and John Jeezy had his own entertainment company called 7 Grams Entertainment. And we formed the Co-op Music Group with John Jeezy being the marquee artists that we're gonna put out first. You know, we had other artists on there, Parlay. We had Bang Bang Gang, which was under Parlay's faction. We had me. You know, I was gonna act as a writer slash whatever. I'm just gonna get in how I fit in, whatever, off the bench. You know what I'm saying? And we started doing mixtapes for John Jeezy and Parlay and Waka Flocka. Um, Waka Flocka is a good friend of mine, and I knew him before he was the Waka Flocka. He was just a goon for Gucci Mane.
Mm.
But he just had started rapping. We was in his first video, Oh Let's Do It. That's us. That's the Hoffa family in there flashing that money in there with Waka Flocka. He used to come to the studio and do songs with Parlay and John Jeezy. And we put a mixtape out called True Blood. It's on all platforms right now. And we did that, you know, co-op music group. That's what we was doing. So that's what I moved back to. When I moved back to Atlanta, that's what we mostly was focused on. That was the second time we moved back.
Okay. Okay. Now, what made you so? I'm guessing that the like you said, the music kind of changed, so you kind of pivoted and you took a step back and you helped elevate uh, uh, fellow artist John Jeezy. Was that your first time ever kind of being in a managerial role for somebody, not yourself, helping
Y-
out with somebody else per se?
yes, that was when me and Yaya was doing our thing in Kentucky. We was like Dame Dash and Jay-Z. I was Jay-Z, he was Dame Dash, you know, and I was the rapper, he was the business guy. You know, I did business too, but he was the business guy and I was the rapper. And when we transitioned to the KMG, that's when I first started. And like I said, I was right under Clay Evans. You know, Clay Evans taught me everything I know about this management and this, you know, how to move out of town and how to, you know, take care of artists, you know, as far as getting what they need, getting they what. He taught me, you know, make sure you take care of the money. The money, he used to call the artist the money. You know, your job as a manager is to, and I tell these young guys who want to be a manager or whatever, a manager's job is to make sure that the artist is as comfortable as possible to do his or her job, because that's what we're here for. For somebody's paying the artist to come perform, and they're going to get paid for that, and then they're going to pay everybody else. So your job is to make sure that artist is as comfortable as possible to do that job, to bring the check home. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's carrying his luggage, whether it's getting him waters, whether it's, you know, I manage artists now. I'm their counselor. I'm their you know, shoulder to cry on, pause. You know what I'm saying? I'm, you know, you got to make sure the artist is comfortable and not worried about the little stuff. The least stuff the artist got to worry about, the better off everybody is. Because that's the money. Let's just be honest. I mean, everybody's here for the money. You know what I'm saying? Unless, I mean, you here because you love the game as well. You know, you love the rap game and you just a fan and this, that, and the third. But end of the day, you want to get paid. We're here to get paid, right? So in order to get paid, you got to make sure that artist is comfortable to do the job to get paid. So um, dealing with John Jeezy was my first touch of being in that position that Clay bred me to be, you know, and I've been in that position ever since.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna just assume that you prefer being more on the manager side versus the artist side.
Yes and no. I would say 60% yes, 40% no, because I'm an MC at heart. I'm an MC first. I love rapping. I love the process of writing, listening to beats. I love going in the booth. I love uh, getting on stage, performing, hearing people sing my stuff that I came up with. However, as the years went on and I seen the bullshit, I much rather be behind the scenes and be a manager. Um, and I spent more years being a manager than I have being a rapper. So I know more about managing than anything. So I like being behind the scenes and I like being that guy that takes care of people. You know what I'm saying? Being responsible. I like to have responsibility. I like for everybody to be like, point at him, he's gonna take care of it. Where are we going? Because I handle all the logistics. I handle booking flights. I handle booking hotels. I handle booking the rental cars. I set up the the appointments for going to do podcasts, what time we supposed to be there, how long we go. I like that part of it mostly. I say 60, 70%.
Okay. Okay. Now I don't want to get too much into what you got going on now, because I know you got a lot going on, and as far as moving parts and things are changing and whatnot. But up until, let's just say, a couple years ago, uh, how did you link up with Boosie? Like, how did that come about?
So Q-Biz, which is the artist that I manage, one of the artists that I manage currently, um, I was living in Harrisburg about 5 or 6 years ago, for about 5 or 6 years. And me and my family, we moved to Lexington about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And I was doing the family thing like I always do. Got the girl at home, got my kids. I'm driving them back and forth to school. My son is in a private school. I'm doing that thing. I'm coaching his football team. Uh, well, he was in high school. I'm coaching the middle school team. I'm doing that thing. And Q Biz, I've known him since he was a baby. He's the same exact age as Yaya. And they're actually cousins, real cousins.
Okay.
And I've known him since he was a baby. And he actually was signed to us, JY Entertainment, back in the day. And, so Q Biz, when I moved to Lexington, he was like, hey, man, I'm rapping, I'm doing this and that. I got it popping. I want you to come on and manage me. I want you to come on the team and manage me. I'm like, man, I ain't dealing with that shit, bro. Like, I'm over here doing my thing, man. I ain't. So he kept asking me. A month go by. Come on, man, I need you, man. I need you, Another month go by. Nah, man, I ain't doing. He said, man, I'm telling you, man. And he would send me music and stuff. And the music was sounding good. He sent me music and everything. And one time I'm like, you know what, man? All right, fuck it. Let's do it. I'm gonna jump in and manage you. I'm gonna utilize my connects and my resources for you. You know what I'm saying? So I start managing him, and Parlay has a podcast called In Departments, and I took him to Parlay, got him a feature from Parlay, got him an interview for the podcast or whatever. Introduced him to a couple DJs that I know. Ran him through the whole, all my whole ATL connection list, and at the time, Q Biz had went to Texas. This is right before I start managing him. He had went to Texas and was doing a video shoot and a show with an artist in Houston named Highway Yellow. Well, when Q Biz performed at that show, there was a guy in the crowd named ATM. Shout out to ATM too, badass ATM. And him and ATM talked or whatever, and they got a relationship. They grew a relationship. So like I'm gonna say 2 maybe 3 years later, right before I moved to Lexington, ATM Biz found out ATM was one of Boosie's managers, and ATM was like, "Hey man, I'm managing Boosie. Well, I want to bring you down here to Boosie house, introduce you to him, let him listen to your music, and you know what I'm saying, see if he can offer you something or whatever. See if you can. So ATM took us to Boosie house. We all went down there, and this is all on YouTube too. You could look it up. We recorded everything, and Biz let Boosie listen to his album that he had out at the time, Weight on My Back. And Boosie loved it. He was like, man, I like your style. You know what I'm saying? You a big fly nigga from a virgin territory. Nobody really came out of Lexington like that, blah, blah, blah. I want to sign you. But I can't do nothing with none of these songs that you already got out. Because you already got them out on platforms and you already done dropped the album. So I want you to go back home, make another album for me, and I'm going to put it out on my platform on Badass Entertainment. And we did. We went back home, did the album or whatever. And during this time, we still going back and forth. ATM is bringing us back and forth to be around Boosie. Like if he have a show or something here, they invite us or whatever. So we going back and forth. And mind you, Q Biz has an entourage of 1 million people. So I'm having to Boosie is seeing me do the logistics for Q-Biz and how I'm handling him as a manager and making sure he's straight or whatever. And I we brought Boosie up here to do a show. So, I'm putting a little money in his pocket. I'm putting money in ATM pocket. We doing a matter of fact, we did it in here. We did like a not a meet and greet. What you call it? Like a showcase. Did a showcase. For artists that could perform in front of ATM and him to critique them and whatever. So as we doing all of this and everything, and I'm being around Boosie's camp and the badass camp or whatever. Me, I'm a type person. I'm gonna go for it. Like, I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna show you what I'm worth. You know what I'm saying? So one time I asked Boosie, I said, man, I'm trying to get some shows booked up here with you, but I'm in a non-believer state. Like, it's ain't Missouri, but it's kind of a show me state in Kentucky. They don't believe it till they see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling them that I'm in with y'all, but they like, whatever. No, because Boosie is it's not a cheap ticket. So I asked Boosie, can I put in my bio on Instagram, just like I got with Q-Biz, that I'm your road manager. I'm one of your road managers. And he says, nah, because I don't want you to coincide with what Jay got going on. Jay is his main manager, Jay Cooper. Shout out to him too. And he said, nah, but what I will do is I'll make a drop for you. I'll make a drop telling people, anybody in the Kentucky, Ohio, Louisville, Lexington area who want to book me, they got to go through you and call your number. You know what I'm saying? So, because he seen how I was moving around with Q-Biz, you know what I'm saying? He seen how I was being a manager, you know what I'm saying? And he did that drop for me. So when he did that drop for me, that kind of like stamped and solidified me out here anyway to, he's that guy I need to call if I want to book Lil Boosie.
All right.
Same thing happened with Parlay. As I'm bringing Q-Biz down there back and forth doing this and that, Parlay, which is a long friend of mine for 17 years now, I met him on the set of the White Tee video shoot when they came out with the White Tee. It was like 16 years ago. And Parlay seen how I was moving with Q-Biz, handling everything. And that's my brother. Like, he asked me one day, like 3 years ago, he was like, what you think about going on the Millennium Tour with us, being a road manager? You pretty much doing the same thing right now with Q-Biz. You just going to be handling all of our stuff on the Millennium Tour. And he took me on the Millennium Tour with him and gave me an opportunity of a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Like, he brought me to be on a major tour like that. There's so many opportunities. You meeting other managers, you meeting artists, you getting content. Like, he put me on in a way that nobody has ever have. Other than Clay. Clay was my first. You know what I'm saying? But Parlay brought me on that Millennium Tour. Really changed my position as a manager. It's kind of solidified it because now I'm around other platinum artists and I'm being introduced as Franchize Boyz road manager. So Boosie kind of did the same thing, just not as in depth because he already got his management team. He already got everything in place. He's been in the game for over 20 years. So half of the cities he go to, he already got connections in to do the after parties. And that's what a road manager basically does as well, book after parties and features and this and that. So he really definitely didn't need me, but he put me on. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's dope. No, that's a good look. That kind of paints a good picture on how you kind of got to move. Like, you got to go outside. And
You got to go outside. You got to leave your town. You got to get uncomfortable. I tell these guys, man, go get uncomfortable. Sitting around your hometown and going to a comfortable studio, you know him, going to do this, you know them. Go be uncomfortable. I mean, to this day, even though I run around with Boosie on all these tours, I was on Boosie. I was with Boosie on the second Millennium Tour last year, year before last, and a lot of times I'm showing up at the arena at 3 in the afternoon, like my Samoan partner taught me. Because you go to these places early, it's a better chance you can get in. It ain't heavy security. It ain't, you can be like, I'm with such and such, whatever, get in and just stay around until the people get there and you in there. So a lot of times I'm uncomfortable. Flights leaving at 6. I'm at an after party. The club don't close at 3. I'm way across the country. The flight leave at 6. I got to be at the airport at 4:30. The only sleep I'm getting is on the airport ground, on the airport floor by my gate for an hour and a half. Or in Boosie's case, you know, like I said, he gave me the opportunity to book shows for him and everything and kind of be in the camp. But Boosie not calling me saying, hey, I got a show next week. Make sure you're there. No, I'm taking it upon myself to do the research, to call him or call his management or see what time they're going to be there. Sometimes I get in touch with him, sometimes I don't. But I know where he's going to be at, so I'm going to be there early. You know what I'm saying? This is a hurry up to wait game. We at the radio station, we might have to be there at 4 o'clock. I'm there at 2:30 in the lobby.
Right.
Waiting. You know what I'm saying? I'm uncomfortable. You got to get uncomfortable and go outside of your city. I don't care how popping you got it in your city. You might be the man in your city, but outside of your city, you might not be shit. So go get your name known on these other cities, and it don't got to be a big city. I tell artists specifically in Lexington, quit focusing on Lexington. It's a million artists in Lexington. Go to these surrounding towns where it's not a million artists. Paris, Georgetown, Versailles, Harrisburg, Danville, you know, go get popping in them, go get them fans, and stuff like that. So you definitely got to get outside of your city and get uncomfortable. To this day, even all that work I done put in over the past 25 years, I still go get uncomfortable. Oh, and by the way, I work a regular 9-to-5 job, my boy. I work a regular 9-to-5 job. I do this shit on the weekends. I'm not getting paid tons of money doing this shit. Working for Boosie, he got me in a position to where it's a you only eat what you kill situation. I'm not on salary. Franchize Boyz neither. I'm their road manager. Like literally in my bio, it says Franchize Boyz road manager. But I'm not on a salary. I got to work to eat.
Yeah.
I got to book a show to get my percentage. I got to book a feature to get my percentage. You know what I'm saying? I work Monday through Friday. I work a regular job, bro. I'm not in the drug game no more. I'm not doing nothing illegal no more. So I'm doing all this off a working man's check. So it ain't no excuse for these guys out here that's getting money not to be at these places. Go to the show. Go to the concert. Go to the music festival out of town. Even if you don't know nobody, just be there. You got to be around. 90% of the connects I got from just being around. I didn't get somebody to say, hey, this is my guy. I'm going to connect you with him and then. I got from just being around.
Yeah.
Just being around. It could be in the lobby. It could be in the crowd at a show. It could be in the motherfucking parking lot. You got to go out there and just be around. You got to get outside your comfort zone.
No, that's a fact. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's what they say. Yeah. Yeah, that's a fact. That's good. Like I said, that is one thing that I've noticed is that it's not so much of people introducing you or not so much of people connecting you. It's more so about you doing the due diligence, or you doing the groundwork, or you doing the connecting, and then you maintaining those connections over the years. Like you said, you might not talk to somebody for a while, but at least once every 2 years, once every 3 years, hey, how you doing? How the family doing?
And having your face being seen.
You know what I'm saying? Like just be visible, be around.
Yes.
You ain't got to be in constant connection, but just be around. Stay in sight. You know what I'm saying? Like don't never be out of sight. Just stay in sight. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a good message. That's a good ideology to have. And so far, like I said, this has been working. You know what I'm saying? It's been working because you got the connections to show for it. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, for real.
You don't get them just by waiting for somebody to give them to you. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to go get it. And I think nowadays that's what a lot of people coming up, and I think that is a fault. I think that is the negative side of the internet, because it gives us a lot more access and a lot more reach to people, but it's accessible by everybody and reachable by everybody. So now you can just get lost in the shuffle, and it's not no more necessarily like nuances to thing anymore, because everybody knows all the slang, everybody knows all this, everybody knows all that. So now it's going to come down to, can you get to those people in real time? Can you get to those people in an actual personal space?
And especially now that we got social media, and I'm going to say this, don't be scared to tag these dudes, man. And I know they got millions of followers and you think you're not going to get seen or heard. You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Inbox them, tag them, call them. Yeah. You know how many times I got to call Boosie for him to answer? Like, I might text this dude Tuesday and I might get a text back Sunday.
Yeah.
So what? I'm going to get mad when he ain't texting me back. So what? Tag these people, man. Inbox them. Tag them. They might see it, they might not. But it's worth a shot. It don't cost you nothing.
Yeah.
It don't cost you on social media anyway, all day, every day. You know, whatever you post, I tell people, if you're a rapper, every time you post a video, tag your top 5 favorite rappers. So what? Get on Google. Everything is at your fingertips. Get on Google and chat GPT. Find out who their manager is. Tag them. I'm going to tell you a secret. Most of these rappers, they managers don't got a big social media. So whether you texting T.I. and he got 10 million followers, find out who his manager is or his assistant or his stylist. They Instagram might have 1,500 followers. So now that tag going to get seen.
Yeah.
That song you sent them gonna get seen. That inbox gonna get seen. You know, tag them all. I do.
Yeah.
And that's how I got to where I'm at, you know. Terrence Bud Crawford just now reposted one of my posts on his story because I was hanging out with him backstage at the Clarissa Shields fight.
All right.
He don't know me from Adam, but he seen me back there with Boosie, you know. He didn't know my name or nothing. I talked to him, but he don't know me. He didn't know my name. I came back home, posted a video of him and Boosie, tagged him in it. Mind you, this guy got 2 or 3 million followers. I'm sure he's getting tagged thousands of times a day. Tagged him in it. He reposted it to his story.
Yeah.
What was the chances of that? It didn't cost me nothing. Now his 2 or 3 million viewers or followers see because everything I tag, I got my tag on it. The Phsyc Mike experiment, which is my YouTube channel that I got out. And everything I do, I record and put it on my YouTube channel. I tagged my YouTube channel, tagged Bud Crawford. He reposted it. Don't know me from Adam. That was free.
Okay. No, yeah, like I said, I like that. I'm a heavy component on just don't just do stuff email, don't just do stuff social media wise. Like sometimes you gotta get out there. Sometimes you gotta be open to like I said, rubbing elbows, like talking to the people, going to different places, like not just doing shows locally, but go somewhere like a Chicago, go somewhere like an Indianapolis, go Cincinnati, go Memphis, go Nashville, like just travel, go to New York, go to the West Coast. Like if you put forth the effort, if you do have to pay. I do think that
you most definitely got to pay.
I do think that is a component that a lot of artists try to avoid, is paying for certain things or being selective on what they pay for. No, if you're going to try to get to X amount level with it, you're going to have to invest an X amount into it, unless you just
travel money, gas money.
Some people get lucky and get a viral home run hit, right? But out of the person who gets a viral home run hit, it's 5 million who don't.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Or more.
So,
facts.
Right. So it's so many people trying to do it and trying to make a way. Just because you've seen Joe Blow do it doesn't mean that you are going to have to maybe go revert a little bit back and go to 05 tactics. You know what I mean? Like you gotta change it up, because all these people, they do get a bunch of emails. You get some people, they be like, I get 500 emails a day. I don't check them until the weekend.
Yep.
Right. But you can catch me every day from 2 to 4 going back and forth between the office building and Starbucks. So, you know what I'm saying? Just like I'm here every day. That person's there every day. They do the same thing every day. You have a better chance reaching them there than you do emailing. You know what I mean?
And showing your face means a lot, because I've got a lot of connections and entry to places by just the security guard seeing my face. Damn, you here every Thursday. You here every show. I seen you at the. So now they comfortable with your face.
Mm-hmm.
So now come on, man, you good.
Yeah, I know him.
I know him. Yeah, even though they don't know him, I know him. I done seen this nigga face 30 times. You know what I'm saying? You got to be out there, man.